What does it mean to be creative?
When I choose to be a moderator, it's my goal to make the focus on the celebrity and their relationship to the fans.
To think outside the box.
He said, well, you can't be all things to all people or something to that effect. You can't appeal to everybody. And I said, why the hell not?
On your Cre8tivity podcast, we sit down with artists, filmmakers, comedians, and performers of all genres to ask them 8 simple questions on what makes them tick.
In high school, I thought I was going to go into acting, and then I love my mom, but she was like, you kind of need to get paid. And so journalism, the pursuit of journalism was a way to act and get paid.
And what can we learn from their quest for creativity? It's time for your Cre8tivity podcast.
Happy November, everybody. We took October off.
Yes, we did.
It was mostly my fault.
It was. You went and played in, where did you go?
California.
But where specifically?
Disneyland. It was awesome.
Did you buy mouse ears?
I actually, they're conductor ears. It's like a conductor hat with the ears. My son got 3. He got Oswald, R2-D2, and BB-8.
Oh, cuteness.
And then my wife got these frilly little purple ones.
Oh, nice.
Those are my ears right there on the mannequin.
I love it. There's a gas mask for all you guys who can't see what we are seeing. It's a lovely body, what about 6 foot tall gas mask and
on the
Disney ears.
Coming to cat.
I know,
I have
right?
15 gas masks, and some of them are
I
functioning.
might need one.
Oh gosh, let us not. Oh, the world is going to change.
And I also went to Universal Studios, did the whole VIP tour. You know, we got to go on the set of Colony. It's a USA show. And a prop house and just behind the scenes of the studio. It was just really cool.
What was your favorite part of the trip?
Probably the Harry Potter stuff.
Oh, yeah. I went to Harry Potter World that same week in Florida.
In Florida.
I think you and I were on opposite ends of the
Wow,
country.
you guys were like Harry Pottering it up.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, but Cat's like, being easy on her. She was fighting tornadoes and hurricanes. And
That's true. And she made Harry Potter worth it.
Yeah, we were there during Hurricane Matthew, so yeah.
And it was underwhelming, wasn't it?
That's what I've noticed. I really think they just need to make a Harry Potter park.
Yeah.
Like, not have a part of a park be Harry Potter, but like the entire thing be Harry Potter.
I think he meant the hurricane was underwhelming.
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about Harry Potter.
The park was cool. The park was fine. I mean, I've never read the books. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I've only seen one of the movies. Like, don't judge me.
You need to binge watch that.
I just had a free pass, and so I thought, oh, sure, I'll go. So.
Oh, you're not human until you've Harry Pottered it
It
up.
was fun, though. You know what? They had whiskey in Harry Potter Land, so it made it all just fine.
In butterbeer?
You could get butterbeer or whiskey. And you could mix the whiskey in the cider. They had cider there as well. And so to me, Harry Potter World is where it's at because they don't have booze at Disney World.
This is true. Yeah, you know what I always love doing? My husband and I would do around the world at Epcot, and we go to each country and drink. And by the end,
there, yeah.
yes, you are definitely around the world and some.
What have you guys been up to?
You go first, Steven. I don't know what I've been up to.
Gosh, I don't even remember what I did yesterday. Like, let alone... It was my birthday the other day.
Yes, it was.
Yay!
Yes, I did that. I'm old.
Did you do something good for your birthday?
Oh my gosh, I slept and relaxed and enjoyed my day. It was
That is the
amazing.
way to adult a birthday.
Yeah. No, it was good.
I've just been in Salt Lake in a play at Salt Lake Acting Company.
Which one?
Winter.
We're going to go see that.
I know.
Wait, you knew that?
Yes, Chris told me.
Okay, yeah. We have we're season
You're
pass.
coming on the 10th,
We are.
I believe.
Yeah, we're the season pass holders.
Nice.
To Salt Lake Acting
Well, it's
Company.
good because it's pretty much sold out. I think they've barely had 1 or 2 tickets left every night, and we still have like 12 performances.
Oh, perfect.
It's about the right to die. It's about an elderly woman who has dementia, and Well, that's not a spoiler. That's the tag to bring you in. I won't tell you if she does it or not. But I play her granddaughter who she enlists in helping her make the decision.
Great. So now I'm just going to be bawling the whole time.
No. Oh, that's the best
So my
thing.
grandma just died this year. Like.
Oh, no, this is actually the best thing.
Yeah.
The best thing is when we were in rehearsals, we knew there were some comedic moments just because it's a dramedy.
Good.
But when we started performing it, it was really funny. So it's genuine. It's funny. You will laugh probably as much as you cry.
Perfect.
So that's what I've been up to.
Perfect.
Well, excellent. I guess we'll get into the questions.
See, Dylan's like all organized, and for people that aren't seeing this, Dylan has like little note cards. I just am lucky to show up, and then it's like, so how are you doing?
Cool.
My questions.
Well, we should introduce our guest so people know who this female voice is that's joining us on the mic.
The one and only Kat Palmer,
Hello.
a local photographer, activist, etc. So that was the short description. How would you describe yourself?
I need to know real quick. Is this a podcast where you guys curse or you guys keep it family friendly?
Fucking swear.
Okay, I just need to make sure, because I'm just not sure.
Dylan will break the ice.
How would I describe myself? I would describe myself as a mother, a badass, a provocateur, and an activist artist. Yeah, that's probably if I had to put a title on myself.
Damn, that is
I'd put
a
myself in box.
tagline.
That's the box I put myself in.
It's a good box.
I like it. I feel like it's more like on the outside of the box.
Yeah.
Not much of a
I
box.
busted through that box a few years ago, but yeah, I think if I had to use a title, that'd be it. So, yeah.
So photography is kind of like your main deal. What was your journey from starting with that till now?
We can age myself. So 21 years ago, I picked up a camera.
So you mean when you were born? Come on, play the fun card.
So when I was 15, I was living in Orange County, California, and I really wasn't into like extracurricular activities or school. I was into alternative things, and that was like the one thing at school I got involved with that I really loved. Now, 21 years ago, we had dark rooms and film and actual cameras that you had to like know how to operate, and we didn't have digital. I mean, we didn't even have cell phones. So I started by. I had a really good teacher. His name was M. He's since all my teachers are retired now, but he would take us to LA and let us loose. I'm pretty sure like legally they can't do that now. But he would just take these like privileged, kids from Orange County, put them on a bus and then go to downtown LA and let us loose and be like, be back at the bus at this time. And that was it. And so that's how I started. Everyone else was taking pictures of the architecture and I was finding homeless people. And then I'd spend a lot of time in Mexico, and same thing. I was looking for people that had a more interesting face, maybe people that could tell a story just by looking at them. So that's why I started at age 15, and then fast forward to age 17, I was still on the weekends heading to LA, and I became, I don't know if friends is the right word, but there were these homeless punk rock people that I would meet up with and photograph them. And it turns out they were two of the stars in the Penelope Spheris documentary Decline of a Western Civilization Part 3. She ended up killing him. They were a couple. It's a whole story. But that's how I got my start.
Right out of the box.
And so fast forward, I come to Utah in 2001. I had taken a few years off of really doing anything interesting with my photography. And then it was actually Bob, the owner of Stone Ground in the Garage on Beck, who said to me, yeah, you could have this wall, put up whatever you want. And so for 8 years, I hung artwork in Stone Ground, and I was able to do whatever I wanted. And so that was kind of my catapult to what do I want to do. And so that's where Learn How to Merge came from, that hung there for 8 years. Yeah, but that's how I got my start. But it wasn't until about 2007 that I stopped taking pretty pictures for the sake of pretty pictures. Mm-hmm. So that's when I really focused more politically and socially. Thank goodness when George Bush was in office, he just gave me a lot to work with. So,
well, there looks like there might be more for you to work with in a couple days.
Yes, it's true. So politically, it fueled a lot of my work because I would just get angry, and then I'd just make a lot of artwork. So, yeah, I don't know if that was a really long answer, but the end.
No, that works.
And that was our show. We will.
We are at an hour.
Wait, I want to continue on this theme a little bit because I think I became acquainted to you because I used to eat at Stone Ground once a week.
So you know
and
this.
so I saw your art.
Yeah.
But we also own the chocolate shop.
Yeah.
And one day we had an employee that had this beautiful long curly hair. Allie is her name. And all of a sudden, Allie comes in and all of her hair is shaved off. And I'm like, what the hell did you do to your hair? Like, I'm like, what are you doing? And
She was
in
part of
the
my
photo
project.
shoot. Yeah, do you want to talk about that? 'Cause
She was my muse, by the way. So Allie was one of the ones that didn't shave it for me. She was the only one that already had it shaved. But she would walk past, I did the farmer's market 1 year. That's all it took, and I couldn't get up that early anymore on a Saturday. But she would walk past my booth. She had this beautiful shaved head. I mean, she's just, her features are striking, big eyes, high cheekbones, just a striking woman. And she'd walk past my booth, and I'd look at her and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I need to photograph her. I need to do something. And I'd think about her for a week, like, what could I do with this? How could I incorporate her into artwork, right? And then she'd walk past again, and I'd run out of my booth screaming at her, I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. And I'm sure I just blew out your audio, but it was very creepy how we met, because seriously, that's how we met. I ran out of my booth screaming at her that I'd been thinking about her. She didn't know who I was. And so from there, I had 13 other women shave their heads. They did not have cancer. I just wanted to show that women could be beautiful, that could be sexy, could be feminine without hair, because I felt like so often men and women put so much of our self-worth into our hair. And from there, it brought me into working with terminal patients. In fact, I'm supposed to be working with somebody this week where when they get ready to shave their head, I come and photograph it. And so...
But you taught me a lesson.
What was that?
That beauty isn't just hair or
It's
things.
not.
And so, you know, up until then, I think I was blind, and I didn't recognize that. So you taught me a huge lesson way back then with
Thanks,
Ollie.
Jen.
But
And wasn't she beautiful without
oh,
hair?
she's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, she just has an aura about her. But yeah, but she was my muse. She was my muse, and she's still, to me, she's still my muse. So she was the first woman that I looked at and just felt inspired. I wanted to create art around her, you know. And so I forgot that she was your employee.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
She's a great friend. So, no, she's a good
And this month marks 6 years since that shoot. 6 years since the shaved head shoot. Yeah. Yeah, and if you go Google my name, really bad images of me that the Tribune took will pull up still. They're like the worst images of me ever.
You're like, I'm a photographer. Let me take my own pictures.
I know it looks like I'm pregnant in these photos, but I'm not.
It was before selfies were a thing.
They're so bad. Anyway, that's fine.
That seemed to be like a trend to start you on like a lot of more political issues and more political themes.
Yeah, basically from 2007. Wait, that was 2010. Yeah. Yeah, so 2007 I really started diving into it, but 2010 is when I think more of the media was taking note of what I was doing. I didn't think anyone would show up to that shoot. I thought, yeah, sure, Slug will cover this, maybe City Weekly, but I mean, no mainstream media is going to cover this because nobody has cancer, right? So why would they want to come and be like, some woman had a bunch of ladies shave their heads, right? Like, I'm like, it's pretty out of the box. But every news outlet covered it, and I was surprised, really surprised. But the best thing I think that came from that was I got a letter from a 16-year-old girl maybe a week after the exhibit opened. It was in the Tribune. She said that day she was coming to get the comics. She read the comics every day, and she had just shaved her head a week prior. And she said everyone was giving her hassle, that they were saying, if you ever want a boyfriend, you need to grow your hair out. You look so much prettier with hair. If you really want to look like a girl, you need to have hair. And they just all week, that's all she was hearing, all week long. And she just was feeling really down about it. And then she grabbed the comics and she saw the image, the really bad image, if you Google my name. She saw the image and she said, whoa, what's this? There's all these ladies with shaved heads. And so she grabs it and she reads it. And she said, for the first time since I shaved my head, I feel beautiful. And she's like, I don't need these people's approval. And that, out of everything that came from it, that is why it was worth it. Because she felt good about herself, just knowing that you don't need to have hair. So... says the lady with lots of hair now, but for the record, I've shaved my head 4 times. So,
and there is, you know what? There's nothing wrong with having hair either.
No,
like, you know, it's owning what you are because that's what you want, and not because of an outside force, which is beautiful.
It is beautiful. A lot of the terminal patients I work with, they tell me I'm honestly more scared about losing my hair than the cancer. And I hear that over and over again. And that hurts my heart, you know, because these women are so beautiful without hair. So
speaking of that, like, you talked about, you know, we joked around about the election and all that kind of stuff right now. Do a lot of your political ideas happen because of current events or because of what's internally moving you?
Both. There's been a lot of shit I've dealt with growing up and as an adult, and I came out of some bad situations that fueled some of it. But also, when my grandmother was alive, she would complain a lot. And I thought, oh my God, like, if I hit 70 and I still don't love myself, like, you think it's like a teenage problem? No. Like, women, men of all ages struggle to love themselves. And it really started opening my eyes that my grandmother was struggling so much to feel good about herself and who she was, that sparked the Love Yourself series I did with, I think there was 39 women. So sometimes it's just things I'm hearing. Sometimes it's just internal things. Sometimes it's subconscious. I don't know when I'm working through things through my art. But yeah, it's a variety of things. And sometimes I'm just mad when I just want to make art. So sometimes it is just political. So, yeah.
Why do you love yourself?
Ooh, good question.
Okay, we have to go around and all answer this, so just be prepared for that. So I'm going to ask each one of you
Dun, dun,
to
dun.
come up with something. I think I have a lot of reasons, but if I have to narrow it down to one thing, I'm unapologetically myself. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you don't like me. Like, I'm not doing this so I make friends. So I feel like that's probably one of my favorite things about myself. But how about you, Steven?
Step up to the plate. Batters up.
I love what I have created. I love our chocolate shop. We're more than just a chocolate shop. But as long as I remember, I've always given chocolates as gifts and just as little thank yous and just as little things. But we created a place for the community to come watch outdoor movies.
Yeah.
And nobody cares who you are, but it's just a place to kind of forget all your problems. That's why.
I love that. And I just want to add to that. Steven, 2 years ago, made my son's little dream come true. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he wanted to be Willy Wonka for his birthday. And so he dressed up as Willy Wonka and had his birthday party at Hatch's Chocolate.
Yes, that's the way to do
And he
it.
was so happy. I mean, he was just so happy. So
He was kind of floating off of the ground.
yeah, he was just like, is this really happening? And all his little friends made chocolate and candies and took it home with them. And it was magical. It was magical. It really
was a cool
was.
day.
It was a really cool day. So
And I love that I get to do that over and over and over again. And it's a cool job.
I love it.
what do you love about yourself, Dylan?
Oh, the list is so long.
No, don't apologize to that. That's beautiful.
I was kidding. Can you go ahead?
No, you can't get out of this. You've
Come
got
on,
to
Dylan, you
like
have to
even
say it.
if something.
It's therapeutic. It's
This is
It is.
Dylan Raw. Just that I used to be so quiet and mousy and just a wallflower. Just coming out of that's what I've loved about myself, and I've met some incredible people. You know, not just through this podcast, but through my own business and stuff like that. Just letting myself let those people in.
That's beautiful. When you get outside of your comfort zone, it's amazing what can happen, right? And so
Exactly,
that's
yeah.
beautiful.
That's amazing. Mine would be my no filter extreme curiosity for people and life. And it just factors into everything I do. I think that's why I pursued journalism, and then that's why I pursued film and acting. And I have crazy wanderlust. And it's just every moment I wake up, I'm just curious about what's next and who's out there. And yeah.
That's one of my favorite words, wanderlust. It's
Wanderlust.
such a good word.
It's so good. It was funny. I was thinking about this because you were talking about chocolate, and like one of my favorite movies is Chocolat. And the concept is, wherever the wind blows, I will follow. And that's kind of always been my motto. It's like, okay, the next village, the next people, the next job, the next whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
That's cool.
Love it.
That's good. Good question.
Great
That was
job.
your question.
No, I think he asked me, and then
That's
turned
true.
it around. And all of you.
That's right. We got interviewed. Well, shit.
I didn't have a list, by the way.
Yes, for you listeners out here, we have Dylan with cards and Steven with a glass of water.
I need to structure myself. You know, I'm
I like
not
structure. I totally get it.
I'm not good willy nilly. Otherwise, I'd be like, "Hi guys."
You'd be okay with that.
Kat, I obviously have loved your work for a long time, and you've done zillions of different scenes and different setups. What would be your favorite? Like, what's your favorite photo shoot and why?
See, that's so hard because I've loved so many of them for different reasons. But
And I'm just gonna add, we need to tag her website when we
Yeah.
post this at some point, so that they can see your pictures.
see, this is so hard because I mean,
Just give even a couple.
okay, can I do a couple? Okay, I'm going to start with what I made into my logo. So this was a 4-year-old boy. He's part Albanian, and this was the very first political shoot I ever did in 2006, and so 10 years ago. He now towers over me, by the way. He's huge now. But in fact, I spent time with him in Florida while I was there. So he was the first political shoot I did, and this was titled "Peace to the Middle East, Peace to Islam." Yeah, which doesn't raise an eyebrow at all. And so this I ended up making into my logo. And I think it will forever. I mean, the intensity in the eyes, the fact that he's part Albanian, it was the first thing that I really took on, and I thought I'd get shunned for it, and I wasn't, because we were in Utah, and I wasn't sure how it was going to be received, to be doing a Peace to the Middle East series in the middle of a war. So that was probably the one of them. The other one is probably a more recent one, and that is my Rainbow Jesus shoot of stop doing hateful shit in Jesus' name, because I feel like so many Christians try to stand behind the Bible. And let's just, for argument's sake, let's just say Jesus is real, okay? He was a peaceful man, and he certainly wasn't bashing on homosexuals. So that was one I did, and I released it on Marriage Equality Day that happened June 25th, a couple years ago. Or no, a year and a half ago. So that was probably another fun one of mine where everyone was dressed in rainbow. And this...
Where did you take the picture?
Salt Flats. Yeah, and it was very accidental. That was not the intention of that shoot, but I think it turned out the way it was supposed to turn out. And so, and then that same guy that played Jesus for that shoot, he did the Last Supper. So he's also that guy there. So I'd say this is also a favorite of mine, even though people could say it's political, it's fine, but you have to realize I don't do things on purpose to be offensive. If people get offended by my work, that's their problem, not mine. But I took the 12 badasses of Salt Lake City and put them at a table with Jesus, so to recreate the Last Supper.
There's one badass missing from there.
There's a few badass missing from there. It's true. There are a few that I'm like, but for the record, this is the first one I'm doing, and I'm going to be doing several more. So
Excellent.
Because there are more people I want at that table, but when you only have 12 people plus Jesus, like, you have to limit. So, yeah, there will be more. But yeah, so I'd say those are maybe those three, but I don't know. Each one, like the women at the Salt Flats dancing for me, that healed me from postpartum depression. Mm-hmm. So that one, after I had Lucas, I felt really shitty about myself. And so having women write into me what they loved about themselves helped heal part of my soul at that time. That was, I think, in 2009. I think that was in 2009. I lose track of time. So I don't know. Different shoots mean different things to me, but yeah, they all have a part of my soul in them, And then, of course, keep the politicians out of the vagina. I've done part 1 and part 2. Thanks, Herbert, for trying to pull our funding from Planned Parenthood, asshole. So, So I think also those are rowdy. This time I included men, so a bunch of men and women got naked for me. And I wrote all over their bodies and called it a day. So, I don't know. There's so many.
No, I love the contrast at the Salt Flats, and you do a ton of pictures there. But it makes for such a cool scene.
It's pretty.
It's cool, but you capture it. Like, I love the clouds, and usually it's like perfect, like blue sky, and then you set up the clouds that are just contrasting.
Thank you.
Along with the salt, and especially the Rainbow Jesus. It was actually really pretty.
Thank you. I think it's pretty out there too. Like, have you guys ever walked out there? Have you walked out there? You need to walk
Just
out
drove.
there. Because driving past it is
so
just
the only
different.
way I get to see it is from your picture.
Okay.
So keep taking like damn pictures of the Salt Flats.
Because it's magical when you're out there. It's just unlike it's just unlike anything else. Like it feels like you're on Tatooine or something, you know? So for all you nerds out there.
I'm going to ask a slightly controversial question.
Ooh, yay. Go.
So, I mean, your stuff has definitely made it beyond Utah for sure. But do you think your work would be as impactful or make as much of an impact if you were, say, on the East Coast or the West Coast? Or do you think location?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is coming from the LA area. It's very, that's not to say that eventually I'm going to go make a splash over there, because that's my next plan, my next goal. No, think about it. I don't know that there's any other artist in this city that is doing this controversial of work. Sandy Parsons was touched upon it a little bit. He passed away this last year, but everyone else is kind of playing it safe. And sorry, guys, I love you. I love your work. My house is full of your work. You look around, there is local artists everywhere you look, but they're playing it safe in a lot of ways. And but they're doing what feels right to them, right? That they're following their heart. They're doing what feels right to them. And I don't know that this platform, I feel like I was blessed with this platform, and I don't want to fuck it up, basically. Like, I want, okay, great, people are listening to me. Well, then what am I going to do? What am I going to do with people listening to me? Okay, let's tackle topics that people don't like talking about. And so, no, I would be lost in New York or LA. Nobody would care. There's not a whole lot of repression happening in New York or LA, right? Like, no. So it absolutely has to do with location. And yes, absolutely. Like, the next series I want to tackle, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it in this state. I really think I'm going to have to go out of state for it, because I know how galleries operate here. I know how the funding works. I don't know that I can show it in this state unless I do a private showing and not a proper location. So yeah. But yeah, absolutely. I think it's because there are a lot of people like me that come from a repressed background. And it speaks to them on some level. I think I'd be lost in the sea of people in New York or LA. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, a little earlier, you talked about that girl that worked at Steve's shop as a muse. Do you have any other muses or inspirational people?
Sorry, the silence is probably not good, huh?
Besides me.
Besides Stephen Hatch. I think I pull my inspiration. A lot of it, like that women's shoot that I included women from age 13 to 78, was because of my grandmother. It was because of the things I was hearing her say about herself. So I think for every shoot, it's different, right? For every shoot, it's different. And the guy that played Jesus in the Rainbow shoot, he never thought he could get married and have a family. Oh, by the way, he's gay Jesus. But so he never thought he could get married and have a family. And so that ruling changed everything for him. He thought, oh my gosh, maybe I do want to settle down. Oh my gosh, maybe I do want a kid. And so I feel like it depends on the shoot. I see things and feel things and from different people. But I'd also say just following my heart. And it goes back to what I love most about myself. I don't care if people like it or not. I'm not doing it for other people. So you can like it, you can hate it, I don't care. So, but I don't know. I think it changes depending on the shoot. This next shoot is completely about myself and the journey I went through in leaving the LDS church. So, yeah. So, yeah. I have lipstick all over your microphone. But, so I think it just depends. But Allie was my definite, I can define her, she was my muse. For that year, I pulled inspiration from her. So, but anyone else in particular, that's just hard to say.
It just kind of varies from
project to project. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question. Is there, I have a feeling the answer would be no, but is there anything that you wouldn't do? Wouldn't, there is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Anything that's non-consensual, anything that's including child and sexuality with children, anything that's racist. So yeah, there are things.
No, I guess, yes, obviously that.
I would not do.
No,
You mean topics I care about?
Yeah.
No. In fact, this next one is going to be, it's one that nobody would touch with a 10-foot pole because they would worry about being shunned or being blacklisted. And so, yeah, no. As far as things that are ethical,
right.
No. Legal, no. As long as it's legal, as long as it's ethical, no.
Well, it seems like you put a lot of yourself out there and a lot of your thoughts, your hearts, your emotion. Is there anything personal that you're like, you know what, I'm just going to keep that for myself? Because, I mean, as artists, we share.
Yes.
Okay.
There are a few things that I have kept private.
Do you want to share now? I'm just kidding.
You don't have to.
It's mainly to protect other people. Sure. It's usually when I'm keeping it private, it's because there was somebody else involved with that situation. So I get involved in those things like domestic violence very heavily, but I'm not going to pull other people into it. And I'm not going to, people have interviewed me about that, and it's like, that's off limits. Like, I'm not talking about that. Recently, in an interview, I opened up about my relationship with my mother and how that looked, and that was really hard because I had protected her for so long. And I had to call her and say, hey, this interview is going to hit at some point, and just so you know, I was really honest about things, and I love you. And so, so there have been things it's taken me a while to talk about. I think I'm barely just ready to start talking about my sexual assaults in the past and the abuse I endured as a child. I'm barely getting to that point where it's like, okay, I think I can talk about this now. Like, instead of just throwing it all into my art and just having people interpret what they want to interpret with it. So, but yeah, there's things I'm slow to talk about. It takes a while, you know. But I do know that the more I talk about things, the more it also helps heal other people. When I broke through with my rape story, and there are some sexual assault stories I have not told because I am protecting somebody. And so, in that moment, I had an outpouring of men and women reaching out to me saying, this is my story. They weren't all comfortable putting it on my Facebook wall, and it's sad because Facebook shut me down, so those stories are gone as far as being public. But I mean, talking hundreds of people reached out and said, this is my story. And the people that didn't feel comfortable saying it publicly, they reached out to me privately and said, this is my story. And so that number they give you, 1 in 3, is bullshit. It's not an accurate assumption. I mean, think about how many women you guys know and how many of those women have told you they've been assaulted. So, and those are just the women that are comfortable with it. A lot of people that came forward have said, I have told nobody about this. And so, anyway, yeah. So there's some things I'm a little slow to telling. So, yeah, but ultimately, no, nothing's off the table. Yeah, I feel like I haven't dove into my suicidal past yet, so maybe I'll do that someday. Maybe I'll start opening up about that more in the future, but, you know, time and place, I guess. Like, it just hasn't presented itself yet, so, yeah. Let's somebody bring the light back to this conversation. It got so
Fun
dark.
stuff. What's the craziest shoot you've ever done? There you go.
There you
Funnest,
go.
craziest, silliest, extremist, whatever.
God. It usually involves vaginas.
There's nothing wrong with a good
Just kidding,
vagina.
it's a vulva. But God, craziest. I guess it would depend on who you were asking. But I think having a room full of a whole bunch of men and women naked that we've written all over their bodies, and now they're all in a room together naked, and we're taking their photograph. That was pretty crazy. I guess having 14 women shave their heads is also pretty crazy. I don't know. I guess it just depends on your term of which one's weirder.
Which one made you laugh and smile the hardest?
Oh, the naked people, definitely. Yeah, the naked people, especially the one guy. Oh my God, he was naked in front of me, and I'm taking his photograph. And then he mentions later, because the people in the room, because the people would come in and be photographed, and then they'd get dressed and they'd go sit back in the lobby waiting for the end, because they're not just going to wait for hours naked, right? So they get put their clothes back on. They go sit back in the lobby and they're waiting. And somebody says to him, so how do you know Kat, right? Because people say that all the time. How do you know Kat? And he's like, oh, we matched on Tinder and we used to talk for a few months. And I was like, oh my God. I just turned like 50 shades of red because I had not remembered that. I didn't know that's how he knew me. And I was like, oh, cool. And now you're getting naked for me. This is not awkward at all. And so that was a little weird. I've also
That's probably his profile picture.
Oh my God.
On Tinder.
Unfortunately, I don't remember his name, so he's gonna probably be listening to this being like, asshole. But probably also photographing my former beehives naked. Yeah. They're adults now, for the record. They're in their 20s because I'm old. But I used to teach them at church. And now they pay me money to take pictures of them naked. So,
Lovely.
So that's not weird at all, right? But she's one of my favorite human beings in the world. And I'm going to say her name, but she's amazing. So, yeah, I think that's my answer.
There we go. We lightened it up a bit.
There we go.
Thank you.
We're out of the rabbit hole.
And I didn't ask you about this before we started. I should have. You recently got engaged. Did you want to speak about that
I asked
at
my
all?
partner to marry me. Yeah. Should we get him over here? Hey, you want to come share a mic with me? We're actually recording this in our home. So we have a home. We're not going to say the location, but we have a home together.
It's in California.
Yeah, we have a home together in California. That's where we are right now. Is my lipstick everywhere? I feel like I've been hitting this thing nonstop. So this is Chris Forbes.
Hi, everybody.
And yeah, I surprised him with a surprise engagement. So
It was surprising. Did you say that already?
yeah, it took him like a day to like say words.
Is it something you're welcome to share?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Share what?
The story.
The story of how it went down, all went down. So Kat had the mayor's assistant email me and say, hey, we're working on a project we want to pull you in on. We want you to meet with the mayor. And so they set up an appointment for me to meet with the mayor. And when I arrived at the mayor's office, there was all of our friends were there, and Kat was there with a photographer and a musician who had written our song, because we didn't have a song yet. He had written our song for us, and so she asked me to marry her, and the musician played the song, and yeah, it was...
And the mayor gave a toast with champagne. It was great. Yeah, Brian Bingham is the musician, and he wrote our song in just a couple weeks. I'd given him a month, but in a couple weeks he had inspiration and wrote this beautiful song. And so, yeah, so he was there. Everyone took the afternoon off and came and surprised Chris. And then a lot of my followers and friends made signs for us. So everyone was holding signs.
So come to find out that Kat had been talking about it on Facebook for a month, but she had set her privacy settings on Facebook so that I couldn't see it. And so she had been talking about it openly on Facebook, and I had no idea.
I was so nervous. I was so nervous that he had figured it out. Because, I mean, it'd been a month. And they were like, I felt like I was having an affair. Because I was having to, every time I was at my computer, I was having to, close down things and, always be like, oh, he's using the bathroom. I can message people really fast. Because we're kind of always together. Because we both work for ourselves. And so I was having to be so sneaky and just making sure nothing was left up and that he wasn't figuring it out. And so, yeah. And the day before, I had one of his best friends, Adam, message him and say, hey, Kat's really hoping that when you guys are in Paris for her birthday, that you're going to propose to her, by the way. He's like, I think she's been dropping hints. And so I just wanted to, throw him off, because I'm like, if he has figured this out, I need him to not think that's what's happening tomorrow. And so, because I did it on our dating anniversary. He had met the mayor a year ago that day. And so I was like, what are the odds that the mayor's calling him in on our anniversary? I was like, he's going to figure this out. So, but you didn't.
I'm dumb, I guess.
But yeah, he said yes, thank goodness, because that would have been so embarrassing, because
Awkward.
Yeah, we Facebook live streamed this. I was like,
Of course.
yeah. So I was like, oh God, I hope he says yes. I'm like, is this what guys feel like when they propose? It's so nerve-wracking.
It's nerve-wracking.
It is so nerve-wracking. And then I didn't want to be too cheesy, and then just, yeah.
Yeah. And for the next day and a half, I was like, is this what girls feel like when they get proposed to? Oh my God, it's so overwhelming. I don't know how to...
We are not into big gender roles in this house, so yeah. Yeah.
Well played, Kat.
Thanks.
Well played.
Yeah, thanks. And for anybody that wants to watch, you can go to my Facebook. It's public, and you can see the engagement.
Chris, you should see if her secret settings are off now, if you can see.
Right.
Wait, where's the video?
Perfect.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, but it just means that I have to step it up when I propose to her.
Aw. He keeps saying that. I don't know what it means. I'm like, we're already getting married.
I hope you say yes.
Oh my God, stop. No, but for reals, we're going to Amsterdam in
Hell yeah.
January.
Nice.
Our birthdays are 2 days apart, and so
Nice.
it's only a 3-hour train ride to Paris, so we're like, let's do that for my birthday. Why not? It's 37
Perfect.
euros, so why not?
Yeah.
hop on a train and go hang out in Paris.
It's awesome.
Yeah, the transportation system in Europe is
Brilliant. So good.
Yeah, Utah, take note. Stop charging more to take public transportation than it is to drive your own fucking car. Take note.
Amen. Yes. Oh, it's brilliant over there.
I'm so romantic.
And on that note, we're getting married. Yay, Europe.
Yay. Yeah, so that's where we're at.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think we covered everything that I wanted to. Did you guys have any more questions for her?
Well, since Chris is over here, I'd love to hear like what your partner thinks of you and your work and your art and his like I don't know. It's fun to hear from like the person who's like closest to you.
Yeah, and he is the person closest to me for sure.
Besides your little boy, but
Well, no, my boys, they only know so much, right? They just see mom.
gotcha. That's true.
Yeah, they don't know some of the big stuff. So
Yeah, it was actually one of the things that attracted me to Kat first was that she's so passionate and so powerful in the things that she does, and she really does that in her entire life. You know, she lives her life passionately and everything that she does. So, and you know, when I met her a year ago, you know, I just had no idea what a powerful person she was. And still is, and you know, the things that she's overcome and gone through just make me
Cat's over here crying in the corner.
love her even more.
this is so awkward.
And he's standing 2 inches from her face, so it makes it even better. She's blushing. We may have lost Kat for the rest of the interview.
Keep going.
Keep going. This is fun.
going.
How to make Kat Palmer speechless. Have
Give me
Chris
pointers. I need to date people. Give me all the advice.
She really doesn't enjoy this at all.
Okay, we're done. Good job.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's definitely a unique experience. You know, I've never been with a partner that you know, we mesh so well. You know, our lives together, our work lives together, our personal lives together, you know, they mesh so well.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, the things that she's passionate about are things that I'm passionate about as well. You know, I mean, I just started on the board at UCASA for the Utah Coalition Against Sexual Assault. And, you know, really helping to raise awareness for that issue in Utah is really important.
Yeah.
It's really important. I think it's one of the things in Utah that separates us from the rest of the nation is the amount of sexual violence that happens here.
Yeah.
And you know, the things that people don't even think about. You know, the human trafficking that happens in Utah, that happens underneath the radar that nobody even thinks about, is actually it's pretty horrifying. So.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. I think I'm back to regular color now.
Just a small hint of pink.
For the record, she's back to regular color because I wasn't talking about her for the last little part. So breathe. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get this awkward too when like a fan comes up to me and says nice things. I just freak out.
Like, oh my God, I finally got to touch you.
Oh, stop. She was really sweet.
She was really sweet. Really awkward.
No, it was great. I loved the awkwardness of it.
I didn't know what to say.
Yeah, he froze. He was like, "Oh, what's happening here?" Because you haven't been with me a lot of those times. Usually it's Rob that experiences those things, but yeah. But I thought she was great. She's super badass actually. So, yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He's the cutest. No, but he's right. I mean, we mesh well together, and our parenting style, because that's huge. And that's what I also learned when you're dating. Like, your parenting style needs to match. If you are single parents, like, it doesn't work otherwise. And we're a little different, because I'm a little bit more high strung, and you're a little bit more laid back, but it still works. So, a little bit. I'm way more high strung, but
Balance.
yes, he does bring a calmness to the situation that is much needed. So, yeah, I couldn't be with somebody like me, honestly. Like, I would want to kill them. Yeah, like bad. So, I sometimes drive myself crazy. So, yeah. You're the cutest.
Aww.
We're just speechless, just watching them like.
So much cute going on.
Yes.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any other questions?
It just kind of closing out. I know you talked about how it's hard being in a state like we are, but at the same time, I actually look at it as you're a huge example to a ton of people, and so both like artistically, even as an activist. What advice do you have for other girls or other men, anybody that are growing up that maybe want to do what you are doing?
Oh, I love that.
What would you advise to them?
A couple of things. The biggest thing is letting go of other people's expectations and the acceptance of other people, whether it be your parents, your grandparent, like any family members, any peers, because all along the way, I heard negativity. And if I had given into that negativity, I wouldn't keep doing this. I mean, you know, God bless my grandparents, but when they were alive, they would say things to me like, why can't you just take normal pictures of normal people? Like, why can't you just do that? Why do you have to do this? And so, and you have to realize at the time I was very LDS when I started with all of these. When I was shooting those shaved head women, I was teaching young women's on the weekends and going to girls' camp. And I was very Mormon. I was just a weird Mormon, but I was very Mormon. And so I had to ignore all of that negativity. And it's big because if it feels right to you, follow that. We are all born with that inner voice, right? Like we all have that, and you need to follow that, even when it's unpopular, even when people don't like you. I mean, as long as you're not trying to go out there and just be blatantly mean, bullying, offensive, as long as you're staying legal and ethical, who gives a fuck? So, follow that passion. I mean, and there's so much more to that. I'm about manifesting the things that you want in your world. But the main thing is, and it sounds so cheesy, follow your heart. But I mean, I guess essentially that's what I'm saying is like, follow your heart, but give no fucks along the way. Mm-hmm. And just realize, no matter what age you are, there are going to be bullies out there. It does not matter how old you are. I'm currently being bullied by a bunch of conservative parents. And so it does not matter how old you are. It happens. And you have, and this is what I teach my children. I've taught that to them for years, that there are assholes everywhere in life. Everywhere. It does not matter if you're 5 years old or 55 years old. There are assholes everywhere. And there are going to be people that try to bring you down because they're threatened by who you are. I have one son that's incredibly unique, and I worried about him getting bullied in school. And so in kindergarten, I took him out to lunch and was just like, look, you're special. Like, don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise, because he's just this magical little human. I'm pretty sure he has a 67-year-old gay man living inside of him, but I don't say that to him. But I mean, he's just different. You know what I mean? He's so different. And so you have to just realize there's going to be people that hate you, that hate what you're doing, that don't love what you're doing, that are going to try to say, oh, go do something else. You know, your time is better spent elsewhere. With anything you need to master, it's going to take how many hours? Is it 10,000 hours? I can't remember what it is. The book I'm trying to remember, Jimmy Toro talks about it all the time. It takes a certain amount of time before you can master that thing. So just because you're not super great at it right now doesn't mean you're not going to be super great at it. So anyway, yeah. So give no fucks. Take no prisoners. Do what you love. Yeah.
And vote next week.
Oh my God. Vote.
And vote.
I already sent in my application. Like, my ballot. Yeah. Yeah. God, please vote. It's sad because I really need a different governor in this state, and I know it's hard, but I really do so badly. So, yeah. Yeah.
And last night, go Cubbies.
Yeah.
How
World
amazing was
Series.
that?
That was
You know what?
fun.
I saw a couple posts. Richard Dutcher posted about it today. I saw about this.
I think what I loved most was waking up this morning, not necessarily the people who were out at the bar enjoying the game, but all the older fans, the grandparents. There were so many beautiful reactions for these like older people who have been following the Cubs for so long and being so excited. And I saw this one post where this older man was like, "We did it! It happened!" And he's in his like chair and he can barely get up. And I've never seen so much joy on like a 75-year-old man's face. It was so cute.
Well, 1908, you know,
Yeah,
was
that's
the
a
last
long
time
time.
that they won. Was
I don't know if
1908.
anybody was watching. I was following Neil deGrasse Tyson's Twitter feed, and it was like he just kept posting all these things that haven't happened or happened since. And I think one of them was like, what was it? The Ford's factory line was discovered 5 years after the last time the Cubs, and then one was like World War I hadn't even happened yet, and it was just like, holy crap, this was a long time ago.
It really was.
Airplane.
Airplanes.
108 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a long time. Yeah, that's amazing. I have to imagine, like, my grandmother was a huge baseball fan. I mean, hardcore. She was an Angels fan, but hardcore. So I have to imagine, you know, wherever she may be, like, she's up there cheering, like, yeah, Cubs.
Seriously.
So yeah.
Good game.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big sports guy, but I was just keeping an eye on the score. And then when it was tied at the end of the ninth, and then the rain delay, it's just like, when is this going to end?
Made for TV movie. Suspense.
Oh, that is exciting. So my friend named he's a huge Cubs fan. And because of something, we had a bet. He named his cat Palmer. So because of it. So
Nice.
his cat is now named Palmer because of the whole Cubs thing. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
You should make more bets like that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Please name your cat Palmer.
We have to have Palmer cats.
I thought it was funny.
Well, Kat, you need to give all your information if people don't
Yeah,
already have it.
I'm super easy to find. I'm also available, like, if I haven't completely offended you and you're wanting to, like, take me out now. But I'm available for hire for families, weddings, portraiture work, anything like that. And I'll shoot regular stuff too. It's not all weird. Like, I do totally normal stuff. But my website is just my name. It's just catpalmer.com. My email is just cat@catpalmer.com. I mean, it's all pretty easy. It's my name's spelled with a C. It's just like a kitty cat. And I'm easy to find on Facebook. And I'm on Twitter. I only post 20 things to Twitter. I think they're funny. They might be a little irreverent or gross, but I think they're funny. So I think I'm just Cat Palmer on Twitter and a Cat Palmer Photography on Instagram. So, and I try to post different things on Instagram than I do Facebook. So it's important to follow me on everything. So yeah, or don't.
Everything.
I don't care. Whatever you want to do. You can go block me right now. So, but yeah, I'm easy to find. So yeah.
Kat, for me, thank you for doing what you're doing. Like, honestly, like, I love you, and I tell you that all the time. You're amazing.
I love him
But
too.
The world needs more people just like you.
Thanks.
Because you do make a difference.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you. It's hard this week, right? Like, I mean, later on, it will all come to pass what's been going on this week. But yeah, this week is particularly hard in my life with making a difference and having a voice. So, yeah. So thank you.
Don't quit.
Thank you. I won't.
Into that.
Yeah. Unless you're a smoker. Just kidding.
And then,
I'm just kidding. I don't care what you do.
you might be better if you quit, but do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. I don't care.
Thank
Well,
you, Kat.
Thank you for letting us into your home, into your
Yeah,
head,
thank you.
into your...
Thanks for coming in, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. Thanks, Andrea.
Until next time, bye-bye.
Peace out.
Adios.
Mic drop.